Previously on Dream Team.
If I go down for this, I won't pay it. I'll be dead within a month, Linda.
I still love you, Jamie. How did we ever get to this?
From you being a slag, that's how.
If I'm lying, why would Carl Fletcher have paid me money not to turn up here today?
What did you say?
He tried to bribe me into not giving evidence. And he tried to have me killed when I told him that I would. Jamie Parker helped him. And so did she.
Oh, my God, no.
Do you honestly expect this court to believe?
It's the truth. I've got a videotape to prove it.
Order! Order in court!
Sensational news from the Carl Fletcher murder trial. The court has been suspended after allegations from key witness Victoria Baptiste that both Carl Fletcher and goalkeeper Jamie Parker... I've just got to break off. She's coming out now. Victoria, can I have a word for Sky?
Mr. Fletcher, please stand. I revoke bail and remand you in custody. We will reconvene on Wednesday.
Take him down.
Did you know about any of this, Linda?
No.
That made me look a complete fool.
What about Fletch?
If a quarter of what she said is true, then we are in serious trouble.
So you're saying the first time that they contacted you was in the Abbey Clinic?
Yes. After what happened with Beauchamp being killed, I fell off the wagon and I needed help. I thought there, at least I'd be able to get away, but...
And Mr. Parker, did he give you a reason for him coming to the clinic?
I've had a gambling problem for over a year, and I had a bit of a relapse, but I had no idea that she was there.
Why did you make contact with her?
Look, mate, I don't know if you've ever been to an addiction clinic, but they're not the friendliest of places. It was just nice to see someone I knew. Wish I'd just ignored her now. I don't suppose you know the Palmer and Harchester score, do you?
Still 0-0, last time I checked.
The first I heard about it was when I saw the picture in the paper.
So you're saying that one of your best friends goes to the same clinic as the key witness in your murder trial and you know nothing about it?
No way would I tell him. Don't know if you know anything about life at a football club, but if you admit to something like getting therapy, you get absolutely hammered by the other players.
So you're saying that Mr. Fletcher didn't know that you went to the clinic?
That's what I'm saying.
So this would be around the time that you released your statement against Carl Fletcher?
Jamie Parker tried to get me to retract it, saying I was lying, called me all sorts of names. And then when I wouldn't, he tried offering me money. £25,000.
Parker was willing to pay you?
No, but Carl Fletcher was.
Yep, it's all there, all 25,000.
So, Miss Baptiste, you're saying that Carl Fletcher, with the help of Jamie and Natasha Parker, conspired to bribe you?
Yes.
No, she blackmailed me.
Oh, come on, you don't expect us to believe that.
She told me she'd make up a pack of lies in court if it didn't pay her off. I earn a lot of money. I thought it was worth it to shut her up.
Carl, I really
No,
advise
I want you to make sure your little tape recorder's getting this, mate. It was all me. No one else is involved. Jamie Parker didn't know Baptiste was in the clinic, and Tash didn't have a clue what was in that bag. They were not involved.
Do you know how serious this charge is?
Blackmail? Yeah, I do. And I hope you get her for it.
And there it is, the final whistle. Palmer 0, Harchester 0. Harchester failed to mount anything resembling an attack in the second half. They really missed Carl Fletcher and Jamie Parker. Fletcher missing for obvious reasons. And Parker stopped by police on the plane out to Italy. Mandy Bandini's men will have to see a big improvement in the second leg in a week's time.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine.
James, where are they taking him?
To Bowtree for the night. Linda, what are you doing here?
I just thought I could help.
You've done everything you can. Why don't you go home and get some rest?
Okay, everyone go home and get some rest. Come back later for a light session, okay?
Andrei Belanov,
Can I help you?
I'd like to ask you a few questions.
What is this about?
It's concerning the bribery allegations. Shall we go?
Hello, Ambassador Dust, eh, boss?
Hi.
Oh, yeah. I was just on my way out. Just thought I'd better get some clothes, because you know what I'm like with the washing.
There's people at the Grange that'll do that for you.
Yeah, I know. It's just,
Oh, no, I didn't mean you shouldn't. It's just, you know, I wouldn't want you walking around in dirty clothes.
So, how did you get on?
Yeah, OK, I think. They said they'll let me know what happens next. And you?
Same. I think they'll either charge us or let us go now, so...
Let's just hope for the best then, eh?
Yeah.
Shame you didn't play yesterday.
Yeah, I know. I'll live. Well, I hope everything goes well with the police and that, yeah?
You too.
If the jury believes one word of Victoria's testimony, we could have some difficulty. It's somewhat problematic that she accused Carl in open court without our having a chance to challenge. Even though it's unsubstantiated, a seed of doubt will have been planted in the jury's mind. We have to review our strategy.
What do you mean?
Although we've discussed the idea in the past and rejected it, I now believe that Carl has to take the stand.
No, I ain't doing it.
I don't think you have a choice. Look, their entire case rests on Victoria's testimony. Everything else is circumstantial. If we can discredit her, the case collapses. We need the jury to believe you, not her. If she did blackmail you, as you say she did, for £25,000...
That's 75 grand she's doing me out of. I gave her 100 grand. She's saying 25.
And that could be it. All it would take is to get Jamie and Fletcher's bank details to show that they withdrew more than 25,000.
I can do that. If we can prove that she's a liar, we can discredit her, right?
I'm afraid not. All it proves is the money was withdrawn. It doesn't prove that Miss Baptiste received it. And I would suggest that our case has been damaged enough by you paying her at all not to testify without arguing that you actually paid her 4 times that amount.
Yes, Mr. Bellini. I hope the hotel will be to your satisfaction. If you have any problems, please do not hesitate to call. A pleasure. Ciao.
Have you no idea what time Linda will be back?
Afraid not.
I am trying to run a team, but every day I seem to lose a player. First Fletch, then Jamie, and now this morning Andre has been taken in for questioning.
Andre, but nobody said anything. Hello, this is Claudia Irving from Harchester United. I understand you have an Andre Belanov with you? All right, thanks. They released him half an hour ago.
But why the hell didn't anyone tell me?
I just have.
Linda, I recognise the smell of your perfume. Drink?
No, thanks. I try not to in the morning.
Suit yourself. So, to what do I owe this tremendous honour?
I don't know what you wanted out of all this, but if it's money, you've had your 75,000.
They told you about that. Sometimes I even amaze myself.
Listen, Victoria, if you want to put Fletch through hell, you've already done that. He's an absolute mess.
Really?
Please, don't do this. Don't send him to prison.
Linda, darling, when that pathetic excuse for a man gets sentenced to life imprisonment, I shall be so happy they'll have to peel me off the ceiling. The world will be a better place.
How do you live with yourself?
Oh, spare me the morality lecture. He's hardly a paragon of virtue. Not to mention you.
Me?
Let me see. Marrying for money, adultery, sleeping with your friend's husband, who is also your employee. I could learn a thing or two from you.
What about ruining your husband's football career? Sleeping with how many players in the same team? 4, maybe 5? Not to mention sleeping with Fletch and Brash at the same time. You really should open an academy.
Is there a problem?
Oh, absolutely not. Linda, let me introduce you. This is Police Constable Ferguson. He's my 24-hour guard. They appointed him to me to make sure no one tries to compromise me during the trial.
Pleased to meet you.
I'll see you in court then.
Scored a goal in the dying minutes. Trust Carl Fletcher. Left now. Here's Carl Fletcher. Carl Fletcher, he's done it.
Is she all right?
I don't know. She's been like that ever since she came back from visiting Fletch in prison. I asked if she wanted a cup of tea, but I don't think she even noticed I was there.
Such an awful thought, though. If he's found guilty, he'll never play football again.
What do the players think about it?
You know what footballers are like. They just want him for the team on Thursday. Can't see any further than that.
I don't suppose they've thought of doing something about it.
Well, that's the thing. Everyone wants to help, but what can you do?
Good question.
Oh, no, I don't like that look.
I've just had the most fabulous idea.
The trial of Carl Fletcher resumes today after the controversy of bribery and blackmail allegations of last week. Key witness Victoria Baptiste accused not only Fletcher, but Harchester teammate Jamie Parker and his wife Natasha. Fletcher has been backed all the way through the trial by his club, and Chief Executive Linda Block arrived with Fletcher's solicitor James Carson Brandt.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I must remind you that you are here to ascertain whether the defendant, Mr. Carl Fletcher, is guilty of the murder of Prashant Dattani. Nothing else. The bribery allegations will be thoroughly investigated, and if substantiated, prosecution will be brought against those concerned. But that is not your concern. Miss Hammond.
I recall Victoria Baptiste.
Harchester United have joined forces with their supporters in a touching bid to have Carl Fletcher released tomorrow night to play in the Dragons' vital UEFA Cup tie against Parma. Well, with me I have Mike Green, Secretary of the Harchester Independent Supporters Association, Team Captain Stevie Shaw, and Claudia Irving. Miss Irving, what's going on here?
Well, we propose the fans get a petition together and pledge enough money to have Fletch released so he can play tomorrow night. The point of refusing bail is to make sure people don't try and run away. But Fletch has never let the Harchester fans down in his life, and we want the authorities to see that and let him play against Parma.
What do the players think about this?
Well, we're right behind the campaign. The lads want to see Fletch in the starting lineup. So to show our support, we've pledged 2 weeks' wages to the fund.
Fletch out! Fletch out! Fletch!
So if you're a Dragons fan and you want to save our striker, then get down to the Dragons' lair and pledge whatever money you can afford, however small. Show the world you believe in Carl Fletcher.
I was approaching Prash's office when I saw there was someone in there already.
Did you see who it was?
It was Carl Fletcher. He was standing over the body. He stood there for about 30 seconds before leaving.
Did you speak to him?
No, he seemed distracted and in a hurry. I was scared.
And what did you do next?
After he'd gone, I went into Prash's office. I leant down to check if he was okay. But it was then that I realised that he was dead.
And what were you doing in the vicinity, Miss Baptiste?
I'd had an argument with Prashant earlier in the day. He'd promised me we would become partners once he gained control of Harchester United. But that day he told me he'd been lying all along. He never intended to include me in his plans. I wanted to talk to him about it.
So it could be said that you had been used by the deceased in a manner not dissimilar to that experienced by the defendant?
Yes.
So it could be argued that you also had a motive for killing Mr. Dattani?
Yes, I suppose so. He treated me very badly. But I didn't kill him. No one deserves to die.
No further questions.
Miss Baptiste, why did you come back to Harchester?
To prepare for the trial.
Really? You couldn't have stayed away and, for instance, travelled in?
Why should I?
No reason. I just thought I should point out that for a woman who professes to be scared of the defendant, it does seem rather strange to voluntarily choose to move into the house next door to him.
There's no other way, there's no other way. All that you can do is watch them play. There's no other way, there's no other way. All that you can do is watch them play.
Do you know what blackmail means, Miss Baptiste?
Is this really appropriate, Your Honour?
Be careful, Mr. Brand.
Is it true that you conducted a sexual relationship with the defendant on the say-so of the deceased in exchange for the promise of financial gain?
Your Honour, do you think my learned friend may care to explain the relevance of this line of questioning?
I am merely trying to demonstrate that the witness has, on numerous occasions in the past, had little difficulty in compromising her integrity in exchange for money.
Proceed.
Miss Baptiste?
I did have a relationship with the defendant, but it wasn't on Prashant's say-so. I've always found Carl rather attractive.
But there were incentives involved.
I'm not a prostitute.
Nobody said you were. Is it also true that you leaked the story of Linda Block's pregnancy, causing her to miscarry for financial gain?
Your Honour, I object.
Is it true?
No, I didn't get paid for it.
My mistake. I must say that, given the witness's past history of indiscretions, it's a remarkable coincidence that there should be allegations of blackmail in connection with this case. Perhaps you intend to sell the story of the trial?
Your Honour, please.
You never saw Carl Fletcher at the scene of the crime, because he wasn't there.
In a matter of hours, the campaign to have Carl Fletcher released from prison to play in one game of football has really taken off. Tash Parker, wife of United keeper Jamie, this really is an incredible show of support.
Yeah, it's been amazing. We've had kids giving their pocket money, people giving money from their pensions, and 3 schools are doing fundraisers today. It just goes to show what the people of Harchester think of Carl Fletcher.
Carl, a good day. Victoria really showed herself up for what she is today. I've got a surprise for you.
Oh yeah, what's that? 2 weeks in Bermuda?
There's a campaign been organised to make them let you play tomorrow. Everybody's in on it. There was a queue stretching right around the stadium today. The public giving money for your bail, Carl.
Can't believe it. Do you reckon they'll let me play?
Well, James seems to think there's a chance. But you let us worry about that. You concentrate on your testimony tomorrow.
I'm gonna cock it up. I know.
You're not gonna cock it up, Carl. It's her word against yours, and we all know what hers is worth.
Will you come to court with me tomorrow? I know you're busy with the Parma game.
Of course I'll come.
What if they find me guilty?
It's gonna be okay, Carl. It'll be okay.
Jamie, have you heard anything more from the police?
No.
What about Tash?
A bit shaken up about it all, but I think it's in the clear. Police said they'll contact if anything else came to light, so...
Okay, guys, time to start focusing.
So what's happening with Fletcher's appeal? They're going to let him play?
Well, we won't hear until his bail hearing later. Right, something to get you in the mood for tonight. Shooting practice.
Yes, shooting practice.
I promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Mr. Fletcher, outline for us, if you will, the events on the day in question, from the time when you left the substitutes bench to go and speak with Mr. Dattani?
It was just before half-time, and I overheard Ray Wyatt tell Andy Answer that Dattani had offered him a 5-year contract as manager.
And you wanted to talk to him because?
He'd said the job was mine earlier in the day.
What was said when you spoke with him?
He told me he wanted Ray Wyatt to stay on in charge, and for me to get back on the bench in case I was needed. He was my boss, so that's what I did.
Were you angry?
Yeah, sure. I wanted to be manager. I still do. But that's football. It has its ups and downs.
You better not play like that tonight. I'm very sorry, Stevie, but I've got one or two things on my mind at the moment.
Oh yeah? Like what?
Like me and my wife not being together and a small matter of a police charge hanging over the both of us.
There's your answer.
Where's my answer?
Oh, don't be such a tart. You want to get back with her, yeah?
Yes.
You can't get on with the rest of your life until you sort things out of her.
Yep.
Well, go tell her that then. Copyright, Stevie, sure. You can borrow it.
He's mental, you know. But he is right.
Ray White brought me on in the second half. We were losing at the time. But he asked me to play deeper. That's just behind the front striker. That's not my normal position.
So what did you do?
I decided to play up front. I thought I was our best chance of scoring. But that angered the manager as I disobeyed him. That's why he took me off. I just wanted to play Champions League football. So I was annoyed.
And this has to be the most bizarre twist of the afternoon. Fletcher looks furious.
I screamed and punched a wall. That's where I got the blood on my hand from.
Where did you go after that?
To the change room. I was thinking of all sorts of people to blame. Ray Wyatt, my teammates, Prashant Tatani for making me lose my concentration. But then I realised it was me. My fault. I should have done what the gaffer said. That's when I locked myself in a toilet. I was upset.
Were you wearing your tracksuit trousers?
No. I was wearing my shorts.
When did you next leave the changing room?
When I went upstairs into the players' lounge to see the lads. At first I couldn't stand to see them celebrating, but then I realised I was being stupid. That I'd done just as much as anyone to get them there.
You didn't go anywhere in the meantime? You didn't leave the changing room for any reason?
No.
What time did you go to the players' lounge?
It must have been about 6:30.
After the time of the murder?
Yes.
Thank you. No further questions?
Well, that went well, didn't it?
No problems, but it was certainly the calm before the storm. Miss Hammond will give him a much rougher ride tomorrow.
James, how are we doing, honestly?
Well, it's still her word against ours, and as such, it's impossible to say.
I've got to get back to the club.
You're not staying for the Bale hearing?
No, well, there's a lot to do before the Palmer game, and especially if Carl can play. I can't leave Claudia all by herself. See you later.
Well, just do whatever you have to do and sort it out. I'd better not have to come down there myself, or... Thank you, idiot.
Catering.
Oh, yeah, sorry you weren't here, so I thought I'd...
I wanted to talk to you about that, actually. I'm not going to be able to make it to the game tonight. Not feeling too well.
Really? Do you want me to call a doctor?
No, I'm just a bit tired, that's all. But I wonder whether you might liaise with the Palmer people, you know, do the things that I normally do.
Kind of already done that.
Great. Hoped you had.
Oh, this came for you today. So how did it go in court?
You should be grateful.
Oh?
Well, you get the chance to show that not all barristers' hearts are made of stone. Look, you know as well as I do that if you oppose this, the Crown prosecution will get crucified in the press.
That's nothing in comparison to what I'd get if he absconded.
Oh, come on. He'll be surrounded by 40,000 people who paid his bail. He'll be as safe as if he was locked in a cell, safer. You know, I cannot believe that you would suggest that my client would be willing to let down all those grannies and school children who coughed up their hard-earned pennies.
Oh, how awful of me.
Harchester's European campaign continues, as does the club's campaign to have striker Carl Fletcher released from police custody for the third round, second leg of the UEFA Cup tie against Parma. The first leg in Italy ended goalless, and rookie manager Mandy Bandini will be desperate for the return of Fletcher, who was so instrumental in Harchester's wins against Shelburne and Rangers in the first two rounds.
So what if Fletch can't play?
Well, I'll go up front for a start.
No, I don't mean like that. We give 2 weeks' wages, right? If they say no, do we get it back?
That's charming, that is. Fletch is having the worst week of his life, and all you can think about is your wallet. Can you believe him?
He's got a point though, Dan. How about we arrange a little wager on it? And then at least one of us ends up smiling.
Bad idea.
Right, if Fletch... How'd you get on there?
Well, I drove around for ages thinking about what I was going to say, and by the time I got there, I had to be here. Well, bottled it, basically.
Jamie.
Look, I'm sorry I'm late, but you can take my fine out of the We Love Fletch fund if you like.
Look, I'll understand if you feel you cannot play tonight.
Are you dropping me?
Jamie, go home and be with your wife.
Sure you know what you're doing?
If he's not right in the head, then I don't want him.
Harchester United 1, Palmer 0. Harchester United 1, Palmer 0.
Go by that side.
Yeah.
Well, now we got to keep.
Right, lads, go on the tactics one more time for Fletch. No, tactics are you get me the ball.
Yeah, you heard the man. Now come on, boys. Who wants to say?
In the last hour, in a dramatic twist of fortune, Carl Fletcher has been released on bail and plays in this UEFA Cup tie against Parma. One can only guess about his state of mind with the verdict in his murder trial due tomorrow. However, goalkeeper Jamie Parker surprisingly absent, Tony Charles deputises. But Fletcher's inclusion represents a massive gamble for a team who struggled in the league this season. But in Europe, Fletcher's given Harchester a decisive edge. New manager Mandy Bandili is hoping that Fletcher can do the same tonight. Bandili will need no reminding that Parma are the only team to have won this competition twice in the last 7 years. Parma coach Daniel Passarella's been talking up his team's chances of winning here. I'm sure he's surprised at Fletcher's inclusion. It'll be Parma to get this UEFA Cup tie underway, playing from right to left in the first half.
Hiya.
Oh, you scared me half to death. Are you injured?
No,
Why aren't you playing then?
because some things are more important than football.
Belanoff, Fletcher dispossessed by Almeida, and Bonazzoli's on his way here for Parma. West trying to tackle him. Charles is off his line. Is this a goal for Parma? Somehow Harchester escape. Relief for Mandy Bandili, but a look of resignation on the face of Daniel Passarella.
So what happens now?
It's your call. You're the one that moved out.
It's weird, I just can't get my head around the fact that I'm supposed to be angry with you.
Do you think you can? Forgive me?
It's so hard, Tash. I just keep imagining it. I keep seeing you with him. When I see Monday, I just want to... you know.
Yeah. Look, I really want us to work it out, more than anything. But if we're going to give it another go, I can't keep on apologising for this. We've got to put it behind us.
No, I can't live without you, baby.
Jamie.
Yeah.
Can we put the football back on now?
All right.
And Harchester United on the counter-attack now. It's Fletcher. Carl Fletcher. Great save, and that's the first thing Fletcher's done of any note in this game. Encouraged there by Danny Rawsthorne. Fletcher playing well below his par in this match. Stevie Shaw slides in. It was a brave tackle, and he might have injured himself in doing it. Palmer still with possession. Bonazzoli. It's only half cleared. Bogosian arriving. Great save by Charles. And Stevie Shaw is still down injured, and this is a worrying moment for Harchester United and Mandy Bandili. Should Harchester lose their captain in such a high-profile game, it would be a massive blow. He wants to carry on, but I'm not sure he's...
You sure I can't tempt you?
No, thank you. I really can't drink on duty.
Pity. I'm just going to powder my nose.
This is a surprise. We need to talk.
In the final minute of the first half, it's Di Vaio. It's rolled into Bonazzoli. Great save by Charles. Bogosian, 1-0 to Parma. The Italians have a vital away goal. It leaves Harchester needing 2 goals now. A draw won't be enough for Mandy Bandini's team. It's a real test of his fledgling managerial career. And the French official blows for half-time. Harchester are a goal down and their fans are stunned. And Stevie Shaw hobbles off. Harchester United need a miracle now. Carl Fletcher's had a very disappointing first half. To be honest, so have his teammates. At half-time, it's Harchester 0, Parma 1.
I just wondered if there was an ounce of humanity in you that might stop you from doing this.
Doing what?
Allowing your lies to send Fletch down.
I haven't told one untruth in the entire investigation.
What about the blackmail?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, come on, Victoria, this is me you're talking to. I'm just trying to find out what really happened. What are you going to do with the money?
What money?
The 75,000 you managed to cream off the 100 grand Fletch and Jamie gave you.
You must have the wrong person. Fletch and Jamie tried to bribe me with £25,000 and I handed it into the police.
But you said earlier...
What about you, Linda Block? Are you going to offer me some money to lie for you like they did?
Victoria, if it's money you want...
I would be very, very careful what you say to me, Linda Block. Because otherwise, you could end up going the same way as poor doomed Carl Fletcher. It's handy having friends in the force. Did you get all that?
Might have sprained it. Could even be ligaments. I think it's best.
Ain't coming off.
Listen, Steve, if you don't come off, you're only going to make it worse.
Stevie, I have to leave the decision to you.
No, just strap it up. I'll take my chances.
All right, listen up, lads, listen. Look, throughout all this, you've all been behind me, all right? And despite what's going to happen to me tomorrow, I just want you all to know that I didn't kill him. But for now, I'm just not doing out of there, and I'm letting you all down. Gaffer, you get yourself a sub on.
You can't. I mean, actually, no, if this is going to be your last game, you know you can't come off after playing like that. It ain't right.
That's true. You can't go out like that.
There's no one going out of Europe for that long. We need you out there.
Fletch.
And it's Walker driving forward here for Harchester United. Trying to get away from Di Vaio. Shaw. Gary Peggs. It's there! Gary Peggs with his first goal for the club. And he's put Harchester back in contention in the UEFA Cup. It's a dream come true for the youngest player on the pitch. Parma still on course for victory due to that away goal. But one more goal for Mandy Bandini's team and they'd knocked the Italians out. But Stevie Shaw is struggling with that injury and I wonder whether he can go on. He's signalling for a substitution and Mandy Bandini is going to be forced into one. You have to admire his determination, but he'll have to come off now. And this is a lovely moment as he hands the captaincy over to Carl Fletcher in a public show of support. A standing ovation for the hard man of Harchester United, Stevie Shaw. Hilaire comes on as Shaw goes off, and it's Captain Carl Fletcher at the helm for Harchester United. Oh, here's Fletcher! And Fletcher leading by example from the front. Danny Rawson with a shot. Carl Fletcher, denied by the goalkeeper, but he's really been a revelation since taking over the captain's armband. Here come Harchester again, led by their inspirational hero, Carl Fletcher. It's Carl Fletcher! Oh, he's done it! Carl Fletcher has scored the goal, which could take Harchester through to the next round of the UEFA Cup. Joy unconfined for Carl Fletcher in what could be his last game as a professional footballer.
Baby, there's so
We've moved into stoppage time now. Parma pressing forward with their last opportunity, perhaps. A header by Sartor, taken by Charles. Is that the last action of the game? It's there! It's the final whistle! Carl Fletcher has rescued Harchester United, as he's done on so many occasions. But what a moment to do it! The verdict in his trial is tomorrow. Is this the end of Carl Fletcher?
Sing, sing, sing. For the love you bring won't mean a thing unless you sing. Sing, 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 sing. Oh, baby, sing, sing, sing.
Get in there, fourth round, here we come. Fantastic result, eh, babe?
If it's the last game he ever plays.
Sing, sing, sing.
Oi, this is yours. I appreciate everything you did for me.
Forget it, man, forget it. Good luck, eh, yeah? Good luck.
Oi, Pegsy! Dynamite performance, Sam. Yeah, you have got talent, the makings of a great player. Yeah, but stay focused. Don't waste it. Take it from someone who knows. All right?
Wait.
Listen.
We murdered him, Fletch. Well done.
I hear the campaign thing was your idea.
Well, I wouldn't say that exactly.
Thank you. Where's Linda?
Gone home. She wasn't feeling too well.
I was kind of hoping she'd be here.
I guess she must be feeling better.
I am so proud of you.
Yeah. I reckon that's the first time anyone's ever said that to me. I'm glad I've left you with a team still in Europe.
Don't say that, Carl. Come on.
Come on, Carl. Time to leave.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry this is happening, Carl.
Bye.
And as you can see from the excitement behind me, Carl Fletcher has just arrived for what is expected to be the last day of this long trial. All that is left is for the prosecution and defence counsels to give their closing speeches and then the verdict.
You were substituted when?
About halfway through the second half.
So, you proceeded to lock yourself into the changing room lavatory while you admonished yourself for your unprofessional behaviour. You then waited for all the players to leave before you came out. That's the last 25 minutes of the match, 10 minutes pitch celebration, and around 40 minutes champagne and congratulations in the changing room. Is that right?
Roughly, yeah.
So you would have us believe that Carl Fletcher, Harchester United's favourite son, spends his club's finest hour locked in a small lavatory?
Yes.
I put it to you, Mr. Fletcher, that on being substituted, you left the pitch, put on your tracksuit bottoms and proceeded to Mr. Datani's office. You were in such a rage that when you arrived to find Mr. Datani celebrating a victory that you considered to be at your expense, you promptly picked up the nearest blunt object and clubbed him to death.
No, that's not true.
But your tracksuit trousers had Mr. Datani's blood on them. How do you suppose that got there? Did they perhaps walk upstairs on their own?
No,
So you would have us believe your toilet tale rather than the actual evidence?
Well, it's the truth.
And Victoria Baptiste saw you in Mr. Datani's office.
She's lying.
Standing over the dead body with a murder weapon in your hand.
No, I never touched the weapon.
But you were in Mr. Datani's office. Mr. Fletcher.
All right. I was in the office. But I never killed him. That's the truth.
But Mr. Fletcher, why would we believe you now, when you've been lying for the past 6 months?
Hello, Linda.
What are you doing here? Haven't you done enough damage?
Couldn't be expected to miss my moment of triumph.
Why can't you just leave us alone?
Us? Oh, please, don't tell me you're sleeping with him. No wonder you're crying. I wish you'd spoken to me first. I would have told you what a disappointment he was in bed.
Oh, just shut up.
But it's such a tragedy. 25 years is a life sentence, isn't it? That means you'll be at least 55 when he gets out. A bit late for the patter of tiny feet then, isn't it? And you so wanted children.
They'll find out what you're up to, Victoria. You won't get away with this.
I think you'll find I already have. Bye, Linda. Try not to pine for Carl too much.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, as you know, our duty as the case for the prosecution is to prove that the defendant had both motive and opportunity to enact the crime of which he is accused. It is clear we do not have a difficult task on our hands today. We know that the defendant used a friend to deliver £25,000 in cash to Victoria Baptiste to stop her testifying. We know that. Why would you do that if you were innocent? The defendant has lied about his whereabouts from the very beginning of this investigation. He was even seen moments after the murder with blood on his hands. I put it to you that Carl Fletcher is guilty of murdering Prashant Dattani.
We cannot convict this man unless it is proven beyond reasonable doubt that he is guilty of murder. Now, we know that Mr. Fletcher had some disagreements with the deceased. We know that he was agitated on the day in question. We know that he was in the deceased's office, but then so was Miss Baptiste, and she is not on trial here today. But do we know? Do we have evidence that proves beyond a reasonable doubt that Carl Fletcher dealt the blow that killed Prashant Dattani? No, we don't. All we have is a man guilty of panicking when accused of a crime which he didn't commit and telling a lie because he thought it would be an easy way out. How many of us can honestly say that we wouldn't have done the same? This court cannot find this man guilty of murder because there simply isn't the evidence to prove the accusation.
I told you should have gone for manslaughter.
Well, if it was up to me. Anyway, how was I to know that he was going to capitulate like that?
Oh, come on. I was always going to get it out of him eventually.
First thing I'd heard about it.
He didn't know he was in the office. My commiserations.
So how do you think he's doing now? I think he's had it.
Yeah, well, if he's been lying for this long, then it's going to be dead cert guilty, isn't it? How long do you think he'll get?
It's 25 years for murder.
Two football careers.
Could all parties involved in the case of Carl Fletcher please return to Court 1 for a verdict?
Does it usually happen this fast?
It's unusual.
What does it mean?
Court rise. Will the defendant please stand? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, have you reached a verdict on which you're all agreed?
Yes.
How do you find the defendant? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Silence in court. Order! Don't!
Silence!
It wasn't him, it was...
Madam, I will find you in contempt of court if you persist.
I killed him. I killed Prashant Dattani. Oh, God, I'm sorry, Fletch. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Order!
Coming soon on Dream
That's
Team.
my fur. Please, that's my fur.
Here we are. Is that the bed?
I'm not sorry Prashant Dattani's dead. And if that means spending the rest of my life in jail, then so be it.
What do you want?
I want to buy a gun.